Hello everyone, welcome to another video where we will be solving Principle of Accounts paper 1, which is about multiple choice questions. We will be looking at October-November 27 exam, paper 1, variant 2, variant 12. So let's get started with the questions. We have 30 multiple choice questions to cover. So multiple choice number 1. Multiple choice number 1 is about computerized system. So if you look at it, in May, June 2017 as well, the first multiple choice question was actually about computerized accounting system. There, the question was about disadvantage, but here it's about which statement is correct, right? So anyone with a computer can gain access to the accounting records. Now, this is not necessarily true because, accounting records can be kept safe by password protect, right? So unless there is no password, then maybe it's possible, but again, it's not a certain thing, right? So option A is actually not correct. So option B, data input can only be used for one specific purpose. Now that's again not necessary. Numbers actually flow to several statements, right? Like for example, depreciation expense, it will flow onto balance sheet in the form of accumulated depreciation, right? So that's actually not true. Data output can only be understood by computer programmers. No, this is not again true because we are not actually programming anything. It's just accounting numbers. And if you don't, so data output is going to be financial statements, and financial statements would be understood by accountants, not by computer programmers, at least as far as my understanding goes, right? So option C is also incorrect. Option D, operator error may result in an inaccurate information, right? So this is about garbage in, garbage out. If your input is wrong, it's most likely that your output is going to be wrong as well. So right, that's actually a correct statement. So the answer to multiple choice 1 is actually option D. Multiple choice 2, what increases owner's capital? Bank loan extended from 5 years to 10 years, that's actually going to increase liability. If you look at it, that's going to increase liability. Purchase of inventory on credit, that's again going to increase liability, right? That's again going to increase liability and increase assets at the same time because there's purchase of inventory on credit, right? Purchase of machinery by check, then again, this is going to increase asset and liability. So far, it's not increasing equity, right? So option A, B, C are actually incorrect. So by the process of elimination, the correct answer to multiple choice 2 is actually option D. A transfer of vehicle to business from private use, that's actually going to increase asset and increase equity, right? So that's what the question is, which is basically owner's capital. Equity is owner's capital, right? So correct answer to multiple choice 2 is actually option D. Let's look at multiple choice 3. A trader provided the following extract from his sales journal. So this is the extract from sales journal. Which entry was made in the account of J. Sango in the sales ledger, right? So what was the entry made? It was basically, let's see. So goods sold were for $100, trade discount given was $80. So basically the answer to multiple choice 3 is actually option C, debit $80, right? So because that's the cash is not received, so you have to receive this money, so there would be debit, J. Sango $80, and then credit sales revenue for $80, right? So that's the answer to multiple choice 3 is actually option C. Then multiple choice 4. What is correct about bank reconciliation statement, right? So what is correct prepared by the bank? No, it's never prepared. So that's actually correct. So option C and D are incorrect, right? Now you are 50-50 process of elimination. You need to look at between A and B, right? So prepared by trader, yes. Part of double book, no, right? So actually the correct answer to multiple choice 4 is option A. Let's look at multiple choice 5. Multiple choice 5, which transaction is recorded in journal, right? So which transaction is recorded in journal? That would be actually option B, purchase of a motor vehicle on credit, right? So that would be recorded in the journal. So the correct answer to multiple choice 5 is actually option B. Multiple choice 6. Let's look at multiple choice 6. So the following appeared in Sue's ledger. So in Sue's ledger, there's Tony's account that's balanced for forward on the debit side. So Tony is customer of Sue, right? So that's what it is. So which statement is correct? Let's look at it. On 12th May, Tony sold no. So actually, Sue sells goods to Tony. So option A is actually incorrect. On 16th May, Sue returned goods. No, only Tony can return goods, right? Only Tony can return goods. So option B is also incorrect. On 28th May, Tony received discount of $6 from Sue, right? Yes, that's correct because Tony is a customer. Tony can receive discount. So the correct answer to multiple choice 6 is actually option C. Let's look at multiple choice 7. Mark sold goods on credit to Paul for $5,000. Paul returned goods costing $200 to Mark. What were the balances in Paul's ledger accounts after these transactions, right? So focus on Paul's ledger. So you have to focus on Paul's ledger, not on Mark's ledger, right? So 5,000 goods. So 5,000 on the purchase account. So debit 5,000. That's actually correct. So actually, this 7D. The correct answer to multiple choice 7 would be actually option D. So purchase account debit in Paul's ledger and purchase return accounts $200 credit because that was a return. And Mark would actually has to pay 4,800. That would be payable in Mark's account, right? So 4,800 for credit because Mark will receive $4,800. Let's look at multiple choice 8. The total of trial balance agreed. What does this mean, right? So all the arithmetic in ledger is correct. That's actually not necessarily true. It could be, but then again, sometimes you can have a wrong entry, but it will still balance. Multiple choice option B. All transactions have been entered in correct ledgers. Again, that's not necessarily true. Let's look at what would be the most best. So total balances equal total credit, right? So that's what it is about. Debit equals credit, right? So that's what it is about. So the correct answer to multiple choice 8 is actually option D. Let's look at multiple choice 9. Gary rents his business premises. His financial year end on 30th September. On 1st October 2016, rent prepaid amount of $3,000. During the year ended 30th September 2017, a total of $7,000 was paid. On 30th September, rent outstanding amounted $2,000, right? Which journal entry shows the transfer of rent to the income statement on 30th September 2017, right? So the total amount actually is going to be 7,000 plus 3,000 and the plus 2,000. That's going to be $12,000, right? So the total amount will be $12,000. Now there's only option B and option D with that amount. So you can eliminate option A and C. Now it's about transfer to income statement, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 9 is going to be option B because that's the entry when it's actually being transferring. So this entry is about recording rent expense. This is about recording rent expense. But this entry is about transfer of rent to the income statement, right? So this entry is about transfer of rent income statement. So the correct answer to multiple choice 9 is option B. Let's look at multiple choice 10. So multiple choice 10, Elizabeth issued an invoice to Jane for $500 on 1st February. On 30th April, Elizabeth received $300 from Jane. She wrote off the remaining balance on 28th October, right? So she wrote off $200. The total outstanding was $500, received $300. So the remaining would be $200, right? A write-off it's basically write-off. So the correct entry would be actually debit bad debts and credit Jane. Accounts receivable is going down, right? So you would credit. So the correct answer to multiple choice 10 is actually option A. Let's look at multiple choice 11. Ajay maintains a provision for doubtful debts of 3% of trade receivables on 1st January 2016. The balance, so the beginning balance for provision for doubtful debt accounts is $70. The trade receivables at the year end was 3,500. Which entry did Ajay make on 31st December 2016, right? So you need to check which entry. But in order to do so, you would actually need to calculate what would be the provision for that. So 3,500 times 3% will give you some number here. So if this number is more than $70, then actually you would have to increase the provision. If it's less, then you would have to decrease the provision, right? So in this case, it's actually going to be up, right? The provision for doubtful debt will go up, right? So when you calculate this number is actually going to be higher. So let's say if this is X is actually going to be higher than $70, right? So how would you record that? It would be the correct entry would be debit provision for income statement and then credit provision for doubtful debts. So the correct answer to multiple choice 11 is actually option B. If this is a topic, provision for doubtful debts is a topic which is difficult for you, I do have a video on that, so you can watch that on my channel to understand this topic, or to improve your understanding of this topic. All right, so you can watch that video. Let's look at multiple choice 12. So multiple choice 12, which are examples of capital receipts, right? So we have capital expenditure and revenue expenditures. Similarly, we have capital receipts and revenue receipts concept as well. So let's look at which of the following would be capital receipts. A loan received from a bank repayable in 3 terms, that's actually a capital receipt. A profit made on the sale of a non-current assets, that's actually not a capital receipt. A cash received from sale of non-current asset at a book value, that is a capital receipt, right? Because you're selling non-current asset. Rent received, that's a revenue receipt. So actually the correct answer, so 1 and 3 are correct. 1 and 3 are correct. So let's find that, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 12 is actually option A. Now remember, they can actually inverse the question by saying that which are the examples of revenue receipts, right? Of revenue receipts, right? So you can see a similar question on maybe a different year exam, right? So they can actually ask you these questions. Let's look at multiple choice 13. Multiple choice 13 is actually very classic, tested many times just in different forms. But let's look at this question. A business purchased a motor vehicle and included it as a business expense in the income statement, right? So it should have been capital expenditure. This should have been capital expenditure, but business has treated as revenue expenditure, right? So that's the problem here. So your profit has been understated because of more expenses recorded, right? More expenses recorded, that's understated profit. And non-current assets will be understated as well because they should have been recorded over there, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 13 is actually option D. Let's look at multiple choice 14. So multiple choice 14 is a cafe owner decided to use the revaluation method to calculate depreciation on kitchen equipment. Kitchen equipment costing $3,200 was purchased on 1st January 2016. This was expected to have a useful life of 4 years. Additional kitchen equipment was purchased during the year for $400, right? So that was additional. So this was purchased on 1st January 2016, and then additional equipment was purchased during 2016, right? So total purchases, total value of your kitchen equipment is actually $3,600. The total kitchen equipment was valued at $2,900 at 31st December 2016, right? So it should have been $3,600, but it says it's $2,900. So what's the depreciation charge, right? So that is actually your depreciation charge. The difference between 3,600 and 2,900 is $700, right? That is your depreciation charge for 31st December 2016. And the correct answer to multiple choice 14 is actually option B. Let's look at multiple choice 15. Imran financial year ends on 31st December. A machine purchased on 1st January 2015 for $20,000 was sold on 30th June 2017 for $8,500. The machine had been depreciated using the straight line method at 25% per annum on a month-by-month basis, right? What was the profit or loss on disposal of the machine, right? So all you need is, so you have been given sales proceeds, which is $8,500. All you need to calculate is the carrying amount of the machine, right? So the carrying amount of the machine would work like this. So 20,000 times 25%, that's your per annum depreciation, times how many years? Look at this. It was purchased in 2015 and sold in 2017. So it's almost 2.5 years, right? So it's almost 2.5 years, 2.5 years. So 2 years, 2015 and 2016, and half of 2017, right? So full years of 2015, full year of 2016, and 2017 is 0.5 or half years, just 6 months, right? So 2.5 years, that will give you the accumulated depreciation, right? That will give you the accumulated depreciation. Let's call this number X1. To calculate the carrying amount, you would do 20,000 minus X1. Let's call this number carrying amount would be X2, and then you would do 8,500 minus X2 and see whether it's a profit or loss, right? So you can actually calculate this number by yourself. That's part of the process, but I will still tell you the answer to multiple choice 15. When you do this math, it should come out as 15C profit of $1,000, right? So this number should actually be less. So 8,500 would be greater, and X2 should actually be less. So a profit of $1,000 is the gain on disposal of machinery. So let's look at multiple choice 16. Multiple choice 16, a purchaser's ledger control account includes interest charged by a supplier on an overdue account and a contra entry to the sales ledger control account. How will these items be recorded in purchase ledger control account, right? Right. So this is an interest charge on an overdue account that it's going to actually be on a credit side. So it's either option C or option D, and there's a contra entry, right? So contra means opposite. So opposite of credit is actually debit, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 16 is actually going to be option C. Option C. Let's look at multiple choice 17. Multiple choice 17 is actually very similar to what we have seen in May, June 2017 exam as well. It's simply you have to calculate gross profit. How do you calculate it? Sales minus COGS, right? So Anita has two departments, X and Y. We have been given information for the whole amount, right? So total revenue for the year was 180,000, of which 1/3 relates to department X, right? So 180,000, of which 1/3 is related to department X, right? So if you do 1/3 of this, you will get some number, let's say X1, right? So 180,000 minus X1 is going to give you the sales for department Y, which is X2, right? So X2 is basically sales of department Y. So I'm leaving the maths to you, right? So you should do the practice by yourself, and then you would have the sales number. You have the expenses for department X and profit for the year. So use these numbers and calculate, and you can calculate the profit for the year. So that should come out as 37,000. The correct answer to multiple choice 17 is $37,000. Let's look at multiple choice 18. How is owner's equity calculated? So here you just need the knowledge of accounting equation, that is asset equals to liabilities plus equity, right? So that's what is needed. So let's look at this. It's this question. Actually, the answer to multiple choice 18 is option A. So non-current assets plus current assets is asset minus current liabilities and non-current liabilities, right? So that's exactly liability section. So if you rearrange the accounting equation, asset minus liabilities is equals to equity, and that's what the question is actually asking you, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 18 is option A. Right, let's look at multiple choice 19. Multiple choice 19 is asking how would you calculate the total current assets. Again, you will have to use the accounting equation, that is asset equals to liabilities plus equity, right? So capital employed you are given, non-current assets you are given, and current liabilities you are given, right? So it's 200,000 equals to 124,000 plus 435,000, right? So if you look at this number is not equals to 200,000. So when you do the maths, so this number is actually greater than $200,000. So that the remainder number is actually current assets, and that would come across as 359,000. So correct answer to multiple choice 19 is actually option B. So this is a simple math. You can do it by yourself. I'm explaining the rationale to you in this case. So let's look at multiple choice. Multiple choice 20. Multiple choice 20 is Gurpreet is a broker and receives a commission from an insurance company when a client purchases a car insurance policy, right? Which the following information is available for the year ended 31st March 2017. What is the profit? What is the profit for the year? So profit is basically revenue minus expenses, right? So if you look at commission received, this is revenue commission on policies arranged, which is not yet received, but if you follow a cool principle, this will still be a revenue. So this is revenue, this is revenue, this is expenses, this is expenses, this is expenses. So take the total revenue, take the total expenses, and then you will get the total profit, right? If you do the maths, you will actually get the right number here following the rationale, but I will, for the sake of giving you the answer to correct, the correct answer to multiple choice 20 is going to be option D, which is $12,280. Let's look at multiple choice 21. So 21 is about partnership accounting. What is a disadvantage to a sole trader of bringing in a partner? The business will benefit from so that's an advantage. A new partner will bring additional capital. That's an advantage. The profits made by a business will have to be shared by the new partner. That is actually a disadvantage. So the correct answer to multiple choice 21 is option C. Multiple choice 22. A club had an accumulated fund at the start of the year of $18,000, and at the end of the year, $16,200. Total running costs for the year were $9,550. New equipment costing $1,100 was bought during the year. The only income came from subscriptions. How much were the subscriptions for the year, right? So you would have to calculate how much subscriptions were there. You had beginning balance of $18,000, of which you would need to deduct $9,550 for the running cost, right? So that will actually give you some number here. Let's call it X1. So take the difference between 16,200 and minus X1. Let's call this number X2, and this X2 is going to be your answer actually. So if you follow the rationale, if you do the basic maths here, the correct answer would come across as 7,750. So it's actually going to be option A. So multiple choice 22, the answer for that question is option A. Let's look at multiple choice 23. Kareem did not keep proper accounting records, but was able to provide the following information. What was the profit for the year, right? So you have to calculate the profit for the year, and how would you do that, right? So it's a very simple question. You need to take the closing capital minus the opening capital plus the drawings. Now the only addition here is capital introduced during the year, right? So capital introduced during the year is actually going to increase the capital. Is only going to increase the capital. So let's follow this logic. Let's follow this formula. So 58,000 plus 15,000, that will give you some number. Let's call that X1. So X1 minus 82,500 will give you some number called X2. And then X2 plus 8,500 will give you some number X3, and that is your profit. So X3 is actually going to be your profit. Again, as I said, I will repeat this again. The basic maths, I'm telling you the rationale, because rationale is more important. Understanding rationale is more important. You can do the basic maths here by yourself, and that's only good for your own practice, right? So you can do the maths in here, and the correct answer to multiple choice 23 is going to be option B. That is 18,000. Let's look at multiple choice 24. A trader has not kept proper accounting records for his business. What will he use when calculating trade payables at the end of the year, right? So he's calculating trade payables, which is coming from purchases, right? And the correct item for that would be actually returned output. So the correct answer to multiple choice 24 is option D. Let's look at multiple choice 25. The final year of AB Limited ends on 30th September. Debenture interest is paid annually in arrears on 1st October each year. Where did debenture interest appear in the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2017? So it will appear on income statement and it will appear on financial position. So where do you see the two ticks? It's option A. So correct answers for multiple choice 25 is option A. Let's look at multiple choice 26. The issued share capital of CD Limited consists of ordinary shares. Retained earnings were 86,000 on 1st September 2016. And then next year at the closing, that's 88,500. The company made a profit of 26,000 and made a general transfer reserve, general transfer to the reserve, or transfer to general reserve of $5,000. What was the total ordinary share dividend paid during the year, right? So you need to calculate the total ordinary share dividend paid. So again, simple maths, take the opening retained earnings, take 86,000, add the current year profit, $26,000. This will give you X1. Deduct $5,000 from X1 because it's going to reduce the profit, right? That will give you X2. Take the difference between 88,500 minus X2, and that will give you some number X3. And then this X3 is basically the dividend paid. This X3 is basically the dividend paid. For the sake of giving you the answer, the X3 should come out as 18,500. This number should come out as 18,500, and the correct answer to multiple choice 26 is going to be option A. Let's look at multiple choice 27. So 27 is about asking you what is the cost of production, right? So you take this, you add 98,400, you are given prime cost, which is direct cost, right? So this is direct cost, and then this is indirect cost. So you take both of these costs, you add them together, and then you need that's X1, add opening WIP and minus closing WIP. That will give you the cost of production. Just follow this basic maths in here, and you should get an answer of option C, which is 14,900, right? So 114,900 would be your correct answer. Cost of production should come out as 114,900. So correct answer to multiple choice 27 is option C. Let's look at multiple choice 28. Which document shows the details of deductions made from their wages, right? So which document will show employee the details of deductions, right? So that's going to be payslip, right? So clock card, timesheet, or wage sheet is not going to show any deduction. That's going to be payslip. So the correct answer to multiple choice 28 is option B. Let's look at multiple choice 29. What is not included when calculating the quick ratio or acid test ratio? That is actually inventory. So CA minus inventory over CL, which is current liability, right? So if you remember the formula, that's just option B right away. It should just take you a second to solve this multiple choice 29. So the correct answer to multiple choice 29 is actually option B. Let's look at the last multiple choice question, which is again going to be about accounting principles, as we have seen over and over. So multiple choice 30, Mavinder started a business and paid a check for $1,000 into a business bank account. He recorded this in the books of the business by debiting the bank account and crediting the capital account, right? Which accounting principle did he apply? That's accounting entity, because he's separating personal business and the business, and dual aspect because every debit has to be, every debit has a credit, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 30 is actually option A, accounting entity and dual aspect. I hope this video helped you to learn about this paper and how to approach this paper. If it helps, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. Don't forget to share it with your friends. And if you would like to comment down below on the topics that you find hard or you would like me to make a video on, please do let me know in the comments down below. And thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much.